Hi, it's me, Jody Ann, and this is Tarot Talks. Welcome to my channel. Today's episode is going to be the visual companion to my podcast, The Witching Half Hour. So, on that podcast, I'm going through the High Arcana little by little, and this is a beautiful visual compendium for you to follow along with because it's really hard to talk about art just verbally without a picture. So, that's what these are. Now we are looking at the power couple of the tarot. That's right, the Emperor and the Empress. Except I'm not going to talk about them on their thrones in these beautiful traditional spaces that they usually are. I'm going to break down contemporary decks. I've got 4 to share with you. The first one I looked at is the Wildwood Tarot. I can't hold up its box because it's supporting my laptop so that this is even because I'm a professional. Let's start with the Empress. I pulled this out when I was doing the podcast and I saw that she was the green woman. And I thought, isn't that interesting? I've never really realized how when we are looking at this Empress card, how she's the perfect companion to the Emperor. I mean, he's the green man in this deck. And I was like, why wouldn't I just look at them together as a set? Compare and contrast the idea of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. We can understand the Godhead better when we look at his companion, the triple goddess. And here you have a perfectly balanced pair. She's all round and voluptuous. She's got, I love her hair in this, right? Like such a beautiful green afro happening in there. And her cauldron is milky white. So it brings to mind a lot of those divine mother ideas. She has the Sheila Nagi on there. I'm going to put a link to some Sheila Nagi resources in the comments on this one, because that is one of the coolest characters. And I just found out about her like maybe 3 years ago. I love her. So the Sheila Nagi and our green woman, right? Full of life, full of creation, but she's not creating alone. She has the green man beside her, that earthy figure who touches everything with life, who keeps nature in balance. And I like how his cauldron is darker. It really, when you put them side to side, you get that yin yang kind of idea going on, don't you? They need each other. They complement each other. They define each other. The next deck I talked about was the 2 cards in the Wild Unknown Tarot. This deck is penned by, you can't read it because it's backwards. I'll read it for you. Kim Kranz. Super cool deck. I've been reading with this for a while and I really like it. It's very nature-based. It's a contemporary deck again. So it takes those traditional ideas and expands on them. A perfect pair, right? The Empress is this deciduous tree toned in pink and with the moon above. You really get the idea that we're talking about divine feminine energy because the moon is so closely tied with us ladies. And it's so closely tied with the idea of the triple goddess, right? The maid, the mother, and the crone. Now, how subtly and beautifully you can see that feminine cycles are highlighted here. The deciduous tree is going to blossom. She's going to lose her flowers. She's going to bear fruit. She's going to lose all of her leaves and she's going to go into stillness and death and then be reborn. Whereas our emperor is that stable masculine energy, that beautiful divine energy that supports and shelters. Super cool how we have the moon present in the emperor's card as well, because we've got that eclipse happening, right? The idea again that they work together, that they complement each other. You can't have day without night or night without day. It's a power couple, right? They need each other. Now, I have talked about this next deck before. I really have enjoyed working with it. It is the Book of Shadows Tarot. Now, this has 2 decks inside it. One is titled As Above and the other is titled So Below. I did an episode of the Tarot Talks where at the beginning of the year, where I did a spread with both decks. I did a yearly spread with the as above and a year ahead spread with the so below. So those are there if you want to like really look at this deck. I think this is a great deck if you are a student of the tarot. The way that the energies break down, like you can really look at that high vibrational energy and how and some of the high arcana archetypes are beautifully depicted. But the way the artists depict this in the low arcana deck is it really highlights how we are within these energies all the time, really all the time. So first we're going to look at the as above deck. Now this deck is highly, I find, highly Wiccan influence, which is cool with me because I do identify as a witch. So you have, instead of the Emperor and the Empress, a little bit of reflection there, we have, I might have to hold them up individually, the God and the Goddess. So let's look at the third card, the Goddess. Can you see that? There, the Goddess. You have a depiction of the triple goddess. You have the maiden carrying her bowl of fruit. You have the mother, and then you have an ancestral representation of the crone. I believe this, she's not there physically. I get the feeling that she has passed on. So you've got the maid, mother, crone, life, birth, death, and then you have Astara, Bunny in the forefront, re-highlighting that idea of cycles, how we are naturally moving through cycles all the time. There's a message here I really feel in this card about honoring and surrendering to the natural cycles of life, right? And now the God, look at that. I'm not sure if it's Pan or Kronos. I think whatever floats your boat you could go with, whoever you're putting on your altar will work. He does have two wolves beside him. Again, strength. And again, that idea of how balanced the God is, right? Both of his wolves are under his power, both the hungry wolf and the compassionate wolf. I heard a saying recently from a beautiful friend of mine about rather than feeding one wolf or the other, you feed them both and learn control. And I really feel that idea is in this God card, just that everything, he's so solid. And this is one of the ones, a lot of times we've talked about the Emperor card being very fiery, really about our passions, really about our drive, about how we use our will within our lives and how we empower ourselves and how we manage our affairs. And you can see that the way he has these wolves. This is a very powerful card. And the first one out of the three we've looked at that has that kind of fiery element as well as the earth element of our God in there. And I really feel like the fire element, when we're talking about it in relation to the Emperor card, it's about not that flamey, consuming fire. It's like a smoldering coal. All that potential is there and all that heat is there, but it's in control. It's not ablaze. It's not burning things down. It's being utilized to produce steam and action. Okay, next, the So Below. Super cool. Again, this would be a great deck to just do a whole like study on. The Empress. Tinted green, right? Definitely a mother. She's in her garden. She's tending to her little person there. Isn't that beautiful? I love how we can totally see the way we are all embodying goddess energy all the time. We are tapping into that divine energy of compassion, the healer, the giver, the nurturer. It's all there. And I do want to highlight how she does have gardening tools there as well. So I feel like that's a subtle way of giving homage to our sisters who are choosing not to be parents. You're still nurturing, you're still growing, you're still tending life. Whether it's your idea, baby, whether it's the book you're writing, creation is inside you, however you choose to express it. The next one is the Emperor. Now the So Below deck tends to highlight feminine people in it. And look at her go, totally embodying Emperor energy, exhibiting her will on the world, making her mark, leading, right? Providing. ruling over things. I love this depiction of the emperor. I think it's genius because when we are hustling, we are tapping in to that emperor energy. We are building, we are leading, we are in control of our ship. We are driving our will through the world, and we are creating the world we want. Empowerment. That's what he's about. Now, lastly, I couldn't help myself. You know, I collect, and I have a very eclectic deck that I've just gotten and I have not even started working with, and I could not help myself. I had to see what the power couple would be in this deck. I will, one day when I get organized, babies, I'm going to put a bunch of unboxings on here. Look at this gorgeousness. Oh, I'm putting a shadow on my face. The Antique Anatomy Tarot. Look at that box. It has everything I love. It's full of skulls. It's full of like antique stuff. And look at the flowers, even like the patina. Oh, my heart. I love it. Wait till you see these two cards. Okay. Look at that. Like, how cool is that? The divine masculine and the divine feminine on your autopsy table in 1820. Now, if I were to read these, I would just stick to the traditional meaning behind the Empress and the Emperor. I would look at the archetypes. I would interpret it like that because they are so stylized. But I've said before, loves, you can read crazy stylized decks if you know your stuff. Thank you for joining me today. It was so fun. Thank you for looking at these cards with me and breaking them down. I look forward to seeing you again. Have a look around here on the channel. I do put monthly readings here. I also have been dropping my TikToks on here every now and then. I just bump a bunch down because I do weekly tarot talks over there. There is the whole series of the High Arcana, as I've been breaking them down on the podcast. So these are constant visual compendiums with that. I hope to see you soon. Take care. Blessings.